Robert Gates. Rumsfeld quoted Churchill.
Something to the effect that I have benefited greatly from criticism, and at no time have I suffered a lack thereof.
Gates ran the CIA and served on the National Security Council for the first President Bush. He is currently a member of the Iraq Study Group, charged with charting a new course in Iraq.
Because our long-term strategic interests and our national and homeland security are at risk, I did not hesitate when the President asked me to return to duty.
The move comes after recent guarantees Rumsfeld was welcome until the end of Mr. Bush's term.
He is a smart, tough, capable administrator.
But today, Mr. Bush completely reversed course, insisting he needed fresh eyes on Iraq, and that Rumsfeld agreed.
He likes to call it fresh eyes. He himself understands that Iraq is not working well enough, fast enough.
The fresh eyes will look hard at replacing current commanders, General George Casey and General John Abizaid. Rumsfeld was getting powerful advice from trusted military advisors that the U.S. is on the brink of failure in Iraq and that the Maliki government is incapable of reining in the militias. Today, President Bush was conflicted. Losing the House and possibly the Senate had him extending his hand to Democrats.
I understand when campaigns end, and I know when governing begins. And I'm going to work with people of both parties.
But in the next breath, he was dug in as ever about the war in Iraq.
See, if the goal is success, then we can work together. If the goal is get out now, regardless, then that's going to be hard to work together.
A top Republican pollster who works with the White House says the president's timing on Rumsfeld is shocking. The pollster says if this had been done last month or even last week, the Republicans could have kept between 10 and 15 additional House seats. Katie?
Jim Axelrod at the White House, thank you. With this stunning change at the Pentagon, we want to call in our chief Washington correspondent, Bob Schieffer, as well as our chief foreign correspondent, Lara Logan. Bob, let me start with you. Why Robert Gates?
Well, that's the interesting part of this here, Katie. This is somebody who's been very, very close to his father for many, many years. We keep hearing all of these stories about how his father is very concerned about what Iraq has come to. The president's father's advisors have been very, very worried about all of this. The fact that he is going to that circle, and he's been very reluctant to do that in the past, suggests to me that we're about to see a major reevaluation of what we're doing in Iraq and where we go from here. This is extremely significant.
Do you think this is the beginning of a troop withdrawal?
I think this is the beginning of an overall reevaluation, and I would be very surprised if it didn't lead to some sort of withdrawal beginning sometime this year.
Meanwhile, Lara Logan, what are members of the U.S. military in Iraq saying about this news?
Well, Katie, I've been talking to serving commanders and soldiers, and perhaps the most damning reaction that I've heard is that this comes 3 years too late, and that it won't change the reality on the ground for the troops here, because they are on a course of action now as a result of decisions made by Secretary Rumsfeld, and the results of that are plain for everyone to see. Or as one officer put it, there are now no good options for us here. And I also heard repeatedly that Secretary Rumsfeld has a reputation in the military as a man who doesn't like to listen to men in uniform. And they're really hoping that this paves the way for someone who does. But I should also say that there were a number of voices who said it's just not right for Rumsfeld to shoulder all of the blame on his own, when much of the blame should also fall onto America's generals. And they really hope that the top military leaders will also be called to account, Katie.
Any reaction by the Iraqi government so far, Lara?
Well, the Iraqi Prime Minister's office says that they don't believe this will change America's position in Iraq. But in their words, they said Rumsfeld and the administration have made many, many mistakes here. And despite that, they are pushing the line that they want a closer and better relationship with the U.S.
Lara Logan, Bob Schieffer, thank you both. As Lara just reported, Secretary Rumsfeld has been under fire for a long time now from both active and retired military brass, including General John Batiste, who commanded the 1st Infantry Division in Iraq. General, in your view, where did Donald Rumsfeld go wrong?
It started back early on with a preconceived notion on warfighting, a misunderstanding of the very basics, a lack of trust and confidence in the military decision-making process. We have a wonderful process to plan, to develop strategies, to figure out what it takes to win. And when you discard all that because you know better, because you know all the answers, because you don't need to include military opinions that are different than yours.
Sounds to me that you're saying he was arrogant.
Arrogant, dismissive, would have been a great peacetime Secretary of Defense. Perfect. But in wartime, he was the wrong person.
Do you think President Bush was loyal to a fault when it came to Donald Rumsfeld? He did offer his resignation, and the president refused.
I think Donald Rumsfeld should have stepped down years ago. I think back during the disaster of Abu Ghraib was a perfect point for him to step down.
He did offer to resign.
And at that point, there was a great transition point, and we could have moved forward. And it is time now to dramatically change what we're doing so we can move forward and be successful.
General John Batiste, thank you so much.
Thanks, Katie.
Others who had been pressing for Donald Rumsfeld's ouster include House Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi, who will soon be Speaker of the House, the first woman to ever hold that position. I spoke to her this afternoon. I asked for her reaction to Rumsfeld's resignation.
I think it's good news. It signals maybe a change in attitude on the part of the president. The president is the policymaker. The Secretary of Defense is the implementer. And whatever you think of the policy, everyone agrees that the implementation of that policy has been a failure.
Do you think this is the first step to the eventual withdrawal or reduction of U.S. troops in Iraq?
I certainly hope so, because our presence there is not making America safer. It's not bringing stability to the region, and we certainly are not honoring our commitment to our troops.
And we'll have much more of my interview with the Speaker in waiting later in the broadcast. She'll talk about the Democrats' agenda now that they'll control the House, and her own feelings about cracking what she calls the marble ceiling on Capitol Hill. There is much more CBS News straight ahead. And coming up next, who will control the Senate? The answer is simple: whoever wins in Virginia. But when will we know? A Campaign 06 update when we return.
My kids call me the finisher. Finish up in there.
Okay.
Finish your homework?
Yes.
Finish your vegetables. Something I thought I was finished with? Managing my acid reflux disease. I thought it was just bad heartburn, but my doctor said over time, stomach acid was damaging the lining of my esophagus. She prescribed Nexium, said I needed more than heartburn relief. My esophagus needed repair. One prescription Nexium pill a day not only relieves my heartburn, it healed erosions in my esophagus. So I don't just feel better, I am better. My doctor did say headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain could be side effects of Nexium, and other serious stomach conditions may still exist.
Talk to your doctor about Nexium, the healing purple pill, and find out if a free trial is right for you.
I tell him you shouldn't do anything halfway. Let's finish up.
If you're without prescription coverage and can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
I used to think that Veterans Day was a day to get out of school. Then my uncle went to serve overseas. Even though he was gone forever, he came home safe. When he wears his uniform, people smile or shake his hand. I guess when you're a veteran, you're a hero. I know he's mine.
We all know someone who has served our country. Today and every day, we say thank you to all our veterans.
I'm Joseph Rainier, and this is my story. What I really enjoy doing is working out as far as lifting weights and doing the boxing. Can tend to be a little hard on the joints at times, especially at my age. After, a couple hours after working out, it's agonizing. I mean, it is painful. A friend of mine told me about Aleve. I had been trying all these different things and not getting any results. I just take it when I need it. It does the job. For me, Aleve works great. The pain goes away. I mean, you talk about knockout power. Aleve does have a knockout punch, and that's a good thing.
My name is Sunila. I'm a scientist at GSK. Imagine the challenge of combating devastating diseases that we see every day. Diabetes, heart disease, Alzheimer's. Now, how about a pandemic that hasn't even happened yet? That's our challenge with bird flu. And that's what's led us to researching a vaccine to help prevent people from getting it. The race is on against bird flu, and our job is to give us all a head start.
GSK. To learn more, visit gsk-birdflu.com.
Pick your line, a house cleaning, a blue wave sweeping over Congress. Whatever you call it, the Democrats will soon be in charge in the House and could capture the Senate as well. The new House will have at least 230 Democrats, 198 Republicans. In the Senate, the Democrats won another close race today in Montana, where John Tester defeated Republican incumbent Conrad Burns. Here's where it stands now in the Senate: 49 Republicans, 48 Democrats, with 2 independents who will align themselves with the Democrats. So it all comes down to the last undecided race in Virginia. Democratic challenger Jim Webb has a razor-thin lead over Republican incumbent George Allen. If Webb wins, the Democrats take control. If Allen hangs on, the GOP hangs on. It will be 50-50, but Vice President Cheney will break the tie. And as Byron Pitts reports tonight, it may be a while before we know.
Today, Democrat Jim Webb had the look of a man who believes the Virginia Senate race is over and that he won.
I feel good. All the numbers look good for us.
But only about 7,000 votes now separate Webb from incumbent Republican Senator George Allen, who has not conceded.
I know you're going to be like a bunch of eagles and hawks watching how every one of these votes are accurately counted.
Poll watchers and lawyers from both campaigns stood by as election officials throughout the state reviewed vote totals, a process that will take at least 2 weeks. Under Virginia law, a candidate who finishes 1 percentage point or less behind can request a recount, a decision the Allen campaign will make after votes are certified November 27th.
Thank you. When you're operating in a margin of 0.3%, there's reason for hope that those shifts could go our way.
But Virginia political science professor Robert Halsworth says a bitter legal fight could damage Allen over the long term.
I think what George Allen is going to have to choose is whether he wants to have a political future in Virginia in another election or whether he's going to roll all the dice on this election.
No one should expect a repeat of the Florida recount from 2000. In fact, Virginia rewrote some of its election laws to avoid that mess. Byron Pitts, CBS News, Richmond.
There were some Republican success stories in this election, like Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger of California. He appeared to be in trouble early in the campaign, but wound up easily winning re-election. National political correspondent Gloria Borger has some other election notes you might have missed. Hi, Gloria.
Hi, Katie. And Katie, here are some interesting trends in this election that could get lost among all of today's big headlines.
Call him Senator Kingmaker. If the congressional centrists are looking for a leader, it might be Joe Lieberman. The newly independent senator would be courted by both parties looking for votes. A majority of women, 56%, voted for Democrats, 43% for Republicans. That's a bigger margin for the Democrats than in 2004 and 2002. Women made the difference in Missouri and Montana. Washington's scandals did not deter evangelical voters. 70% of them still voted Republican, but it wasn't enough to stem the tide. About 6 in 10 voters agree with the president that illegal immigrants should be offered a chance at legal status. Most voted Democratic. That might lead to a compromise. Deval Patrick becomes the first African-American governor of Massachusetts, and Keith Ellison of Minnesota becomes the first American Muslim elected to Congress.
And not to be forgotten is Hillary Clinton. She won big, and she collected IOUs from the 40 candidates she campaigned for, and that never hurts, Katie.
And Gloria, so is this the first day of the 2008 presidential campaign?
I'm going to hold my breath and say, you bet it is. And I think, you know, Katie, if the Democrats take over in the Senate, which could happen, they're going to be held responsible here, and their candidates are going to have to vote on a lot of tough issues.
All right, to be continued. Thank you, Gloria. Coming up next, more of my conversation with a woman in line to be Speaker of the House. And tomorrow, caring for your parents. How safe are those assisted living facilities? The first report in our series, Aging in the Shadows.
Nasal allergy symptoms like congestion can occur at any time, and it's hard to avoid the things that cause them.
Achoo!
Prescription Nasonex helps relieve congestion and other nasal allergy symptoms. Maybe that's why 4 million nasal allergy sufferers used Nasonex last year.
Side effects were generally mild and included headache, viral infection, sore throat, nosebleeds, and coughing. For more information, talk to your doctor.
Nasonex keeps congestion and other nasal allergy symptoms on the run, day and night.
You've waited all year for endless shrimp, and now it's almost gone. Don't miss the only time of year to enjoy all the shrimp you can eat. Endless shrimp ends soon, only at Red Lobster.
Gus thinks it's his job to protect me from the world.
A love like this deserves new I Am Small and Toy. It's concentrated nutrition with more protein, so little dogs have the energy to do what they love for life.
All of us have internal plumbing. But for some of us with frequent bladder urges, doing errands also means knowing where all the bathrooms are along the way. The worry your pipes might leak means you don't always detour from your route. But you can take another direction. Talk to your doctor about how to take care with Vesicare. Vesicare, once a day, can reduce urges and may help effectively manage bladder leakage, day and night. If you have certain types of stomach, urinary, or glaucoma problems, do not take Vesicare. While taking Vesicare, if you experience a serious allergic reaction, severe abdominal pain, or become constipated for 3 or more days, tell your doctor right away. Common side effects are dry mouth, constipation, blurred vision, and indigestion. A chance to follow a whim, not always your urges. It's not just a pipe dream. Ask your doctor today if Vesicare is right for you.
Through Monday, Sleep Country's entire line of Sealy mattresses is on sale. Even get the lowest price of the year on our most popular Sealy Posturepedic. The Super Sealy sale ends Monday at Sleep Country.
Why buy a mattress anywhere else?
I'm Randy Quaren. What's the best product for your home building or remodeling project? Watch RMT Advantage Around the House and learn from the experts. Only on Coin News 6, sponsored locally by Trinity Carpet and Flooring.
The critics have spoken.
Katie Couric proved herself.
Did a particularly good job.
Most concerted effort at explaining what the results meant to real people.
Couric drew on a strong analytical team.
Comfortably in charge.
Katie Couric, CBS News. See it now.
More now on the history that was made by the Democrats last night. For the first time, a woman will become Speaker of the House, second in the line of succession to the presidency. Nancy Pelosi is 66 years old. She's represented San Francisco in California's 8th congressional district for almost 20 years. She first ran for office after her 5 children were grown. She also has 5 grandkids, with number 6 on the way and overdue. Congresswoman Pelosi has a long list of priorities for her new job. One potential obstacle: she and the president have said some pretty nasty things about each other.
I never called the president a liar. That I never did. I said it's time for the president to tell the truth to the American people. I think that much of the truth has been withheld from the American people.
But you have called him dangerous and incompetent, right?
That's right. Well, if you take a look at the implementation of the policy in Iraq, if you look at Katrina, you look at the rest, I think that there was a lack of judgment on how we proceeded in both cases. Now the election is over, the campaign is over. Democrats are ready to lead, we're prepared to govern, and we look forward to working in a bipartisan way with the president and the Republicans in Congress.
What are you anxious to get going on in a bipartisan way? I know your partisan agenda, but in a bipartisan way.
I think we do have to address the issue of immigration. It's a challenge in our country. People want answers, and there is bipartisan, comprehensive reform that we can do working together that I think the president would support, and we shall see when we bring them up. Raising the minimum wage, even the president said today that might be an area that we can come to agreement.
The Republicans used 2 T words, terror and taxes, to tell people the kind of alternative they would get if they voted the Democrats into power. Are you going to raise taxes?
Raising taxes would be a last resort. There are plenty of things in this budget that we could remove and substitute better things for. For example, we could roll back the subsidies for big oil and use that money for investment in alternative energy. Investing in education brings more money to the public treasury than any tax incentive you can name. So we can find other ways to support better priorities without heaping mountains of debt. We want to actually have tax cuts for middle-income families in our country.
A lot has been made of the fact that you, if elected, and it appears that you will be the first woman Speaker of the House and the highest-ranking woman in the United States government. What does that mean to you?
It's pretty exciting, I have to say. I'm just so excited that a Democrat will be Speaker of the House.
So you're a Democrat first, a woman second?
Well, in terms of the politics, in terms of the change it will make for the American people, yes. But as a woman, I'm very, very thrilled because I carry a special responsibility. I've broken the marble ceiling. This Congress is steeped in tradition and history, and it's very hard for a woman to succeed to the level that I have. And I think it sends a message to all women that if this can happen, anything can happen.
With the Democrats soon to be the majority in the House, who will lead the Republican minority? The top Republican, Speaker Dennis Hastert, under fire in the Foley Page scandal, said today he doesn't want the job. And coming up next, Donald Rumsfeld's final tour of duty at the Pentagon.
Hi, Jay Bush and Cousin Drew here for Bush's Homestyle Chili.
I slow cook it according to a secret family recipe with premium ground beef and a special blend of spices for a homemade taste.
Say, Drew, what do you say you let me see where you keep the secret family recipe?
All right, Jay, but don't tell your dog Duke. He can't keep a secret. Duke, how'd you get in here?
Oh, I had some doggy doors put in.
Enjoy Bush's Homestyle Chili. Looks like homemade, tastes like homemade.
When you get a cold, you can't always slow down, but you can feel better faster with NyQuil at night and DayQuil during the day. Together, they can give you the relief you need to keep going. So leave the coughing, aching, and fever behind with NyQuil at night and DayQuil during the day. Feel better faster.
The Hyundai Azera. With 8 airbags, electronic stability control, and a 263 horsepower V6 all-standard, plus more interior space than a BMW 760i. It may be the most car for the money ever. It's no wonder the Hyundai Azera was ranked most appealing large car by J.D. Power & Associates.
Healthy Choice gave us a challenge
to add even more flavor to taste
by marinating
and fire grilling.
Delicious
and healthy.
Healthy Choice. It's all about the choices we make.
Serenity has a leg up on bladder control protection because our underwear now comes in a second absorbency that's more absorbent. New Super Plus. Serenity by Tenna. The protection you trust. Now in underwear.
Last May, Walgreens helped me choose the Medicare prescription plan that best covers my medication. So I told Sue about it.
I went to Walgreens with my prescriptions, and they gave me a free report that made it easy to choose a plan.
We can help you, too. Whether you want to switch plans or you're turning 65, we'll even give you $50 in coupons. Walgreens accepts all major plans, and we're here for all your Medicare needs.
That's why millions of seniors have turned to Walgreens with their Medicare questions.
Tomorrow, did a 30-year-old grudge lead to Sandra's death? Police say it did, and they claim the murder was all because of a stolen high school boyfriend. The bizarre tale tomorrow on The Early Show.
We end tonight where we started with Donald Rumsfeld. By the time he leaves the Pentagon after his replacement is confirmed, Rumsfeld will be the longest-serving defense secretary ever. He served 2 presidents 25 years apart. Then 43 years old, now 75. He's both the youngest and oldest man to head the Pentagon. And on his second tour of duty, he ran into enemy fire right away. Here's Bob Orr.
From the moment he was sworn in, there have been people trying to push Donald Rumsfeld out.
he clashed with the uniformed brass, and his plans to overhaul the military led to rumors of his ouster as early as 2001. But then 9/11 intervened. That day, the embattled defense chief worked side by side with paramedics to rescue the injured. In short order, he led the U.S. into 2 wars, first in Afghanistan, later in Iraq, insisting Saddam was hiding weapons of mass destruction,
including VX, sarin, mustard gas.
When things turned sour after Baghdad fell, Rumsfeld chastised the press and dismissed fears of a growing insurgency.
Pockets of dead enders are trying to reconstitute.
While he sometimes showed the flag with the troops, Rumsfeld often infuriated his critics with flippant quips, often seen as arrogant. A soldier once asked him why troops weren't better protected against roadside bombs.
You go to war with the army you have, not the army you might want or wish to have.
With the scandal at Abu Ghraib and a mounting casualty count, a parade of generals called his war strategy flawed.
Donald Rumsfeld is not a competent wartime leader.
Yet he repeatedly beat back calls for his head.
Isn't it time for you to resign?
I've offered my resignation to the president twice.
But with an especially deadly October and Iraq tipping towards chaos, the defense chief increasingly found himself playing defense. And late today, he bid his troops farewell.
They have my respect. They will remain in my prayers always. Thank you.
An emotional end to 6 stormy years. Bob Orr, CBS News, Washington.
And that is the CBS Evening News this very busy day after Election Day, with thanks to the Jones Day Law Firm for this magnificent view of the Capitol. I'm Katie Couric in Washington. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow from New York. Good night.
CBS News. See it now, anytime, anywhere.